Good evening, everyone, and welcome. Today, we're exploring two courses that sit at the heart of businesses, governments, and global markets. And we're going to look at how they operate, and those two are accounting and finance and economics. They're connected in some areas and differ in others, but they each follow their own path and develop a different way of thinking, and that's exactly what we're here to unpack. We're joined by two of our excellent academics here who can break down this far better than I ever could. Before we get started, I'll hand over to them to introduce themselves.
Yeah, hello. My name is Jamshid Bajaf. I'm a senior lecturer and I teach on the Accounting and Finance modules program.
Hello, my name is Nyang, and I'm a lecturer in economics.
Thank you both. I do want to just remind everyone that there's a live stream. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask, and we will pick them up throughout the live stream or answer them in the chat. Wicked. So to kick things off, can you just give us a quick overview of your programs, please?
Yeah, starting off with Accounting and Finance, is centered on how money is basically recorded. The old, version of recording transactions, how records were kept in terms of the ins and outs of a business or of a trading or of a trading organization, and this is basically looking at how money is recorded, managed, how it's analyzed and used to make decisions. And that's where we're trying to get the program running over the years to get the students to be able to make those decisions, informed decisions, using the transactions that have been recorded. Students develop technical expertise in financial reporting, in investment, in audit, in risk management, corporate finance and budgeting. These are the skills that organizations normally rely on.
So really important.
Absolutely important.
And Nahan, economics?
Economics is about understanding how people, businesses, and government make decisions when their resources are limited. For example, economists may ask why house prices rise in some cities, or what is the impact of the trade war on global supply chain, and so on. So it is a combination of theory, data evidence, and real-world observation to think critically and explain how incentives, trade-off, and institutions shape economic outcomes.
So very relevant in today's context with everything that's going on, definitely. Amazing stuff. So for anyone that was sort of weighing up these options, how would you describe a type of student that might thrive on accounting and finance versus economics?
None start with.
Yeah.
So economics may suit students who are curious about how the world works. For example, especially students who enjoy questions, why and what if. For example, why people behavior like this, or why market fluctuate, why some policies succeed or fail. And if students like working with data, exploring patterns, debating policies, or understanding big pictures like inequality or market dynamics, you'll find economics engaging. So it rewards those who think critically and aren't afraid of questions that may require multiple perspectives.
Yeah, in terms of accounting and finance students, I mean, these are students that would prefer, who would like structure, look at accuracy in terms of the recordings, looking at analyzing financial information. So these are the areas that if you're comfortable with, in terms of numbers, you enjoy what logic is such, and want to develop technical skills that translate directly into professional roles. Okay, roles such as we've got a lot of accounting as a concept is quite broad.
Yeah.
So you have roles in risk management, you have roles in audit, you have roles in analytics, and these are all different roles that feed into the program that we teach in the accounting and finance program.
Okay.
So it's quite a great fit for those that want structure, those that like logic, understand how transactions work and why they're recorded in the way they are recorded, and what effect they would have in terms of the business longevity, in terms of business sustainability, in terms of how they can help in strategic alignment of the business as to what they probably what the business strategy is essentially.
Yeah, I've got a question for both of you.
Yeah.
Do you think you need to be good at maths and numbers to thrive in your programs?
I'll go first. In terms of accounting, you just need your basic level of understanding in terms of how to add, how to multiply, when to subtract.
Very basic. Though.
Very basic,
Good.
very basic. So we're not really technical in terms of quantitatives of
Yeah.
information. We're not really statisticians as such. We work more on numbers or figures that are what I'd call live as such, as in what's actually happening,
Yep.
rather than what we're expecting to happen. So
Okay.
yeah.
I think my answer is very similar to what he said. Of course, quantitative skills is an important skills that economics program may require you, but we don't expect students have such a strong background at the beginning. We will help them to build skills of quantitative from year 1 to year 2 and then year 3.
So you develop the skills
Yeah.
throughout the program. Amazing stuff. I think a lot of students probably find that, or think anyway, that maybe accounting and economics, because they're both sort of financial sort of based programs, have quite a lot in common, which I'm sure they probably do. But before we touch on those types of things, what are the sort of clear differences between the courses, would you say?
I mean, to add to what Nan earlier said about the economics is more about having sort of an understanding of how the economies work. Whereas when it comes to accounting, we're looking at more on areas such as financial reporting, management reporting, management accounts.
Yeah.
We're looking at investment analysis. So,
Okay.
for example, return on investments, residual incomes. We're looking at corporate finance in terms of what the cost of capital would be for investments, for example. We're looking at taxation. We're looking at audit. So students tend to build technical competence that leads to exemptions, for example. With the program that we offer, it leads to exemptions from various accounting bodies, for example, ACCA.
Yeah.
And ACCA, as you know, is a chartered status. So within ACCA, accreditation, it quite builds a very strong foundation for the accounting students. Yep, that's the thing. That's the key difference. I don't think there's any other quite relatively connecting sort of areas as such between the two
Okay.
programs.
Yeah. In economics, there is a variety of modules such as microeconomics, macroeconomics, econometrics, policy analysis, behavior economics, global market, and so on. So in economics, students learn how to interpret the trends, evaluate the decisions, and understand economic behavior. For example, we have to explain how is the response of customers to price changes, or how the central bank manage the inflation. So the main difference between economics and accounting is that economics focus more on analytical framework rather than technical accounting skills.
Amazing stuff. So I think you both sort of mentioned there as well. Both subjects are clearly tied very closely to real world issues. And I think that's why they're sort of stalwarts of courses that exist and that type of thing. And obviously at DMU, we're very proud of practical embedded skills within our programs. What does that look like for your courses? How does the practical side of learning reflect in your programs?
So in our programs, students are required to work on the real data set. For example, we have the data set of macroeconomic indicators such as unemployment, inflation, trade patterns. We also have the data set of business, of consumer behavior, and so on. So students are expected to use this data set to analyze and then tackle current economic issues, from climate policy to inequality, and learn how to turn data into insight. Some contribute to research project or policy brief. We hope that this hands-on approach can develop skills that employers value across sectors such as finance, technology, consultancy, or government, and so on.
Yeah, I mean, adding on to that with regards to accounting, this is students are basically using the industry standard software, and most of the casework or most of the work that they do in the seminars are real world scenarios. So they use financial information and then are able to build out or make an opinion as to the performance of that business. So we have, for example, the use of the trading floor, which is essentially a platform that a lot of students use, the Bloomberg reports, and that's like the industry standard in terms of getting the information or financial information of different organizations. So students use those or use that information to analyze the trends, for example, to analyze what the performance is between industries or within industries, and companies within that particular industry. And they also look at different areas, such as looking at the audit practices, the ESG, or what we call it, the environmental social governance, looking at the way that the remunerations are throughout the sectors or the sector that they are researching. So there's a lot that they can pick up on in terms of the different softwares, in terms of different platforms that they can use. And again, we have modules such as digital environment, for example, which is basically teaching or looking at the different areas on how information is processed. So as you know, a lot of Gen AI and machine learning coming into the profession, and the expectation is that students will now become more of analysts, having the analytical, critical thinking mind, and that's how we develop the students in terms of how to be able to interpret information and come up with decisions.
So almost getting them like career ready and stuff like
Getting
that.
them career ready, absolutely, and that's what companies are looking for now more and more. In terms of how they can place themselves within the strategic thinking thought process of how to improve on the organization's performance, really.
Yeah, that's really good, and I think that does sort of go nicely into the next sort of point, which is outcomes in terms of what students do once they finish your degrees. Very briefly, what kind of careers do graduates tend to go into from your courses?
Well, on the accounting side, our graduates go normally into accountancy or practice. They also go into financial analysis, analytics, investment banking, risk management, audit, tax, corporate finance, and roles that require strong financial understanding. And most of those students that we've seen develop and go on to work onto a chartered status.
And
so they become
the accreditations help massively with that, don't
absolutely,
they? Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, as I said earlier, we have exemptions for the accounting and finance program, in which most of the foundation papers for accreditation such as ACCA or CIMA are covered within the undergraduate program, so they don't have to do that in terms of when they go on to their professional the qualifications of exams.
And that makes them obviously desirable to employers.
Absolutely, because they've already cleared most of the F papers or the foundation papers. For example, looking at the ACCA context, really.
Amazing.
So they would have covered most of the all the foundation papers, and they'll be left with maybe 3 or 4 P papers.
I believe,
9 exemptions, absolutely. 9 exemptions from the foundation papers.
It's a no-brainer then, really, isn't it?
Well, absolutely.
If that's what you want to go into, you want to go into...
Absolutely. So you're not only coming out with a graduate or being a graduate degree, but you also, I'd say 75% over your journey becoming a chartered accountant, for example.
Amazing, wonderful. How about economics?
Economic graduate move into diverse roles such as policy analysis, consultancy, finance, data science, government, central banks, or international organizations like World Bank or IMF, and so on. So the analytical and problem-solving skills often open up the pathways in economic advisory, market research, and strategic planning. So to summarize, economics is a degree that keeps career options broad.
Wonderful. I think we're getting close to time. So just before we wrap things up,
Excuse me.
no, you're all right. Do you have any advice for any future economists or accountants out there, or people that want to work in financial services?
I'd let Nance.
You catch the
Let me catch my breath.
Yeah.
So you can choose economics if you are motivated by curiosity, if you want to understand how decisions ripple through societies and markets, and if you value intellectual breadth. It's a subject that encourages you to question, explore, and think critically about the world around you.
Yeah, when it comes to accountancy, if you're thinking about whether you're looking for a clearly defined professional route, accounting and finance would be ideal. If you want technical expertise that directly links to specific careers and qualifications, as per the list as I gave you earlier, in terms of what the different career pathways that can be taken once you go through the accounting and finance program. Yeah.
Great, yeah, and thank you both. Thank you for
problem.
supporting us today. It's been really, really insightful. Thank you to
Yeah,
all the
glad.
viewers at home. If you'd like to explore the course further, we have an open date in February and March. You can take a look at our website and you can sign up there and get a full itinerary for the day, book onto our taster sessions and so on. You can check out our course pages on the website. I hope this session helped you maybe decide between whether you want to maybe go down the economics route or maybe work towards a career in accounting and finance. But hopefully we'll see you on campus soon and have a good evening. Thank you.
Thank you.